Have you ever felt like you're running out of time? Like everyone else is ahead of you, already achieving their dreams while you're still figuring things out? Maybe you scroll through social media, see someone your age, or even younger, buying their dream car, building a business, or living this picture-perfect life, and you think, why not me? What am I doing wrong? If you've ever had that thought, stay with me. Because in this video, we're going to break down why Gary Vee, yes, the same Gary Vaynerchuk, who built multiple companies and became one of the most recognizable voices in entrepreneurship, believes patience is the single most important key to success. And by the end of this video, you'll not only understand what he means, but you'll also see how applying patience in your own life could be the exact missing ingredient you've been looking for. So let's dive right in. Gary Vee often says something that sounds almost too simple to be true. Macro patience, micro speed. What he means is that while you need to work hard every single day, you can't expect results overnight. Most people quit not because they lack talent, but because they lack patience. They get frustrated when things don't happen in 6 months or even 2 years. But think about it. Some of the most successful people in the world didn't even get their big break until later in life. Colonel Sanders didn't start KFC until his 60s. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter even saw the light of day. And Gary himself? He spent years building wine library. Working 15-hour days in his dad's liquor store long before anyone knew his name. Here's the problem we all face today. We live in a culture of instant gratification. We order food with a few taps, binge entire shows in one weekend, and scroll through content in seconds. That mindset creeps into how we view success, too. We expect fast results, and when they don't come, we assume we've failed. Gary Vee argues that this impatience is the exact reason so many people never reach their true potential. Now, let's break this down into the first big point. Patience protects you from quitting too early. Think about how many projects, ideas, or goals you've abandoned simply because they didn't blow up fast enough. Maybe you started a YouTube channel, uploaded a few videos, didn't get views, and then gave up. Or you launched a side hustle, but because it didn't turn into a six-figure business in a year, you thought it was pointless. The truth is, most success stories require years, sometimes decades, of consistent effort before they look like an overnight success. Patience is what separates the ones who keep going from the ones who give up right before the breakthrough. The second point Gary emphasizes is this. Patience allows you to play the long game. When you're not obsessed with quick wins, you can make better decisions. You're not desperate to cut corners or chase trends that fade in a year. Instead, you can focus on building something real, something that lasts. Gary talks about how so many young entrepreneurs want to be millionaires by 25. But in that rush, they miss opportunities to actually learn the skills, build the network, and create the foundation that will sustain them for life. Patience gives you the breathing room to think bigger than today's quick dopamine hit. And here's where it gets powerful. When you combine patience with daily action, the micro speed part, you actually get the best of both worlds. You're moving fast on the small things, but you're calm and steady about the big picture. That's where real success happens. Now that we've covered how patience keeps you from quitting too early and how it helps you focus on the long game, let's move on to something even more personal. How patience actually reduces stress and anxiety while you're chasing your goals. So now that we've talked about how patience keeps you from quitting too early and allows you to play the long game, let's look at another side of this that Gary Vee always stresses. Patience isn't just about success, it's also about your peace of mind. Here's the third point. Patience reduces stress and anxiety while you're chasing your goals. Think about it. When you're constantly in a rush, constantly comparing your timeline to someone else's, you live in this permanent state of tension. You feel behind. You feel like you're failing. And that pressure eats away at you. Gary often points out that the reason so many people burn out is not because they're working hard, but because they're impatient. They've set these unrealistic expectations for how fast things should happen, and when reality doesn't match up, they spiral. Now imagine if you shifted that mindset. What if you told yourself, I don't have to figure it all out by 25 or 30 or even 40. I just need to keep showing up and putting in the work. That one thought changes everything. Suddenly, the pressure lifts. You can breathe. You can focus on actually enjoying the process instead of constantly panicking about the outcome. Patience doesn't just move you closer to success, it makes the journey to get there so much lighter. Gary often says, patience is peace. And he's right. Because once you stop expecting things to happen overnight, you can actually give yourself permission to live while you're building. You can laugh, you can spend time with your friends, you can experiment without the crushing fear that you're falling behind. Now let's build on that with the fourth point. Patience makes you unstoppable when combined with resilience. Life is going to throw obstacles at you. That's not a maybe, that's a guarantee. You're going to face rejection, setbacks, failures, and disappointments. But here's the thing. If you're patient, those setbacks don't feel like the end of the road. They're just bumps along a very long highway. Gary Vee constantly reminds people that the people who win are the ones who can take a punch, get knocked down, and then get back up again. Because they know the game is long. I'll give you an example. Imagine two people start a podcast at the same time. The first person expects to blow up in 6 months. When they don't, they quit. The second person knows it might take 5 years before they see real traction. They keep going, they keep improving, and 5 years later, they've built an audience of thousands. What's the difference? It's not talent, it's patience plus resilience. That combination is like armor against discouragement. And here's where we connect to the fifth point. Patience helps you play offense instead of defense. When you're impatient, you're constantly reacting. You're chasing trends, copying what others are doing, trying to find the fastest shortcut. But when you're patient, you can actually set the trend. You can take risks, try creative ideas, and let them play out over time. Gary always talks about how too many people are worried about being behind, so they scramble to catch up. But if you're patient, you're not worried about catching up. You're focused on creating your own lane. That's when you stop playing defense and start playing offense. And here's the kicker. Once you're on offense, you stop worrying about the clock. You stop comparing yourself to everyone else because you realize you're not even in the same race. You're running your own. That's a level of freedom most people never experience, and it's only possible when you embrace patience. So, we've now explored how patience lowers your stress, fuels resilience, and even lets you take control of your own path. But there's still one more piece of the puzzle we need to talk about. How patience doesn't mean waiting around doing nothing, but rather building momentum in a way that compounds over time. So we've covered how patience keeps you from quitting too early, how it lets you play the long game, how it reduces stress, fuels resilience, and even puts you on offense. But there's one more point Gary Vee really emphasizes, and this is where everything comes together. Patience isn't about sitting back and waiting. It's about building momentum that compounds over time. Here's what that means. Patience isn't passive. It's not about lying on the couch and hoping the universe magically delivers success to your doorstep. No, Gary's version of patience is active. It's about showing up every single day, putting in the work, and trusting that those small actions will add up. He calls it eating dirt in the early years, doing the unglamorous, often unnoticed work that eventually sets you apart. Think of it like planting a seed. If you drop a seed in the soil and come back tomorrow expecting a full-grown tree, you'll be disappointed. But if you water it consistently, protect it, and give it time, it will grow roots first, the part you don't even see. And then, one day it breaks through the ground. That's exactly how momentum works. All those little efforts, even when it feels like nobody's noticing, are creating roots. And when the growth finally shows up, it's exponential. Gary often says that people underestimate what they can do in 10 years, but wildly overestimate what they can do in one. That's the trap impatience creates. We want everything right now, so we quit before the roots are even finished forming. But patience allows you to keep going, to trust the process, and to let that compounding effect work its magic. And here's where the beauty lies. Once you see the results of compounded patience, even once in your life, you'll never look at success the same way again. You'll realize that the timeline doesn't matter nearly as much as your consistency and your persistence. So let's pull this all together. Patience is not weakness. It's power. It keeps you from quitting when things feel slow. It allows you to think bigger, beyond today's quick wins. It reduces stress because you stop putting yourself on unrealistic timelines. It makes you resilient because you understand setbacks are just part of the longer journey. It puts you on offense because you're not chasing others, you're creating your own path. And most importantly, it allows your efforts to compound into something massive, something you might not even be able to imagine yet. Now, I want you to think about your own life for a moment. Where have you been rushing? Where have you been frustrated because things aren't happening fast enough? Maybe it's your career, your side hustle, your fitness journey, or even your personal relationships. What if instead of beating yourself up, you gave yourself permission to be patient? What if you trusted that with time and consistent effort, you will get there, even if it's not today, not tomorrow, but eventually? That's the mindset Gary Vee is trying to instill in us. Success is not about speed, it's about stamina. And the truth is, most people lose not because they lack talent, but because they tap out too soon. Don't be that person. So here's my challenge for you. Identify one area of your life where you've been impatient. And instead of asking, why hasn't it happened yet? Start asking, how can I keep showing up consistently, knowing my time will come? That shift alone could completely change your trajectory. And before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and share one area of your life where you're going to start practicing more patience. Maybe it's your business, maybe it's your art, maybe it's your personal growth. Whatever it is, your story might just inspire someone else who's watching this. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. We're building a community here of people who want real, honest, practical advice for creating success on their own terms. And remember this, your timeline is your own. Don't compare it to anyone else's. Keep showing up, stay patient, and trust the process. Because one day you'll look back and realize the very thing that felt like it was taking forever was actually building the foundation for everything you've ever wanted. Stay patient, stay focused, and I'll see you in the next video.